podcast and take this walk with me.
Welcome back to the Three Parallels podcast with your host, the brother Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. If that is you, you are tuned into the right show. Welcome back for those who are back. Welcome to for those who are new. On today's show, I got a guest. I got a sister from another mister, and this person was handpicked and delivered to me like a strawberry in the California sun. This one was given to me. I was blessed with this woman's presence and grace from my number one favorite mentor, Dr. Lynn Wolverine. And he told me, hey, man, I got somebody special. And I'm like, y'all, hold on, man. Hold on. How special is she? He said, hey, I got one. And I want to share her with you because I know who you are, I know what you do, and I know what you two can do together. And we had our first meeting, and he was absolutely right. I found a gem. I found a friend. I found a colleague. I found a sister from another mister who has blessed me in just being her. And now here's her opportunity to bless you all. So, ladies and gentlemen, family, gators, salamanders, and everything else in between, I would like to proudly present to you the one and only Dr. Sharon Beatty. Welcome to the show, baby.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here on the Three Parallels.
All day long, all day long. And listen, you family. So we just gonna have fun because that's what we do anyway. So let's start from where you are. I'm curious to know. I mean, the listeners curious to know, who is Dr. Beatty? What's your story? What's your journey of where you are right now?
Okay. My journey right now is I've actually finished a doctorate program, which I'm very excited to talk about. I learned a lot about myself through that program. I learned that, sometimes even when you feel as though maybe this program is a difficult program, it can still be for you because if you continue to go forward and continue to just keep, chipping away one step at a time, one step at a time, eventually you're going to get to the end of that tunnel. And you're going to look back and say, you know what? I can't believe I'm here now. And so what I've always told myself is don't ever quit. Don't ever stop. Always continue to believe in yourself, believe in what you can do, and God will do the rest. Just believe in it.
Powerful, powerful.
Mhm.
So what made you decide I'm finna go get this
Okay.
doctorate?
All
I'm
right.
finna go do this.
Okay. What made me want to go get a doctorate? I'm all about learning. I'm all about growing. I'm all about developing into people, into who people can be all through your life. Just because you are young doesn't mean that education stops with you at a young age. Education continues to go with you throughout life. So for me, getting a doctorate was just more education, more learning, and more me establishing who I am so that I can reach back down and pick other people up. So for me, getting a doctorate was just, I guess, me believing in myself, but also
Mm,
understanding that knowledge is power. And the more
mhm,
knowledge you get, the more people you can support and the more people you can help. And getting
mm.
that knowledge on a structured basis where you're learning properly, you're in a safe environment to be who you need to be, but also just understanding that everybody starts at a different level.
Yeah.
So a PhD for me was, you know what? I'm going for it. And
Mm.
you know what? If it's what God wants me to do, I'm gonna finish. And so I
Okay.
did.
Ooh,
I did.
that's so
Mhm.
powerful. Big shout out. Much love. Congratulations. It's a huge accomplishment. And
Mhm.
you deserve your flowers because a lot of
Mhm.
people start it and they may not finish for several
Mhm.
reasons. And
Mhm.
it's a really big accomplishment to do it and to finish. So I want to go beneath the surface in the basement, as you know.
Mhm.
So for the listeners, for the newbies, the basement is when we go beneath the surface, we get a little deep.
Mhm.
For those who've been here, you already know the deal. So get your notebooks because we finna go to school. So it's been now, from my perspective, this is just my perspective. The PhD or getting a PhD is way beyond the piece of paper at the end. And I'm
It is.
curious to know for you, especially being newly minted,
Mhm.
the PhD, the doctorate process can be life changing in a lot of different ways.
Oh,
And if,
absolutely.
if you could
Mhm.
share with us, because a lot of people don't know, especially those who haven't
Mhm.
done it, gone through it,
Mhm.
it's this belief that you go get a doctor so you can be called doctor such and such, not
Mhm.
really considering the
Mhm.
life-changing
Mm.
transformation from beginning to end that you experience to
Mhm.
get the doctorate. So if you don't mind sharing with us,
Not at
what does
all.
that mean? What does that look like?
Well, first of all, it's a lot of hard work. And when I say hard work, it's not work that you cannot do.
Ooh.
but it's consistent work, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you something a little bit about me.
Yeah.
I went into this program with strong imposter syndrome. Like,
Mhm.
God, do I really need to be here? Is this really where you want me to go?
Yeah.
Because I have gone through my life journey by, asking the Lord, different things and making sure that my steps are ordered by Him. So
Mhm.
when He had told me, He was like, hey, in my spirit, I was like, a doctorate? Okay. All right, I'm gonna try it out. So I applied. So that's the first thing, y'all. You got to apply to see where you
Mhm.
fit. And so, being a former school counselor,
Yeah.
and also a licensed clinician, I thought, well, you know what? Counselor education supervision will be the way that I go. And that's how I got into the program. In the
Mm.
program, you all, there's a lot of work. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a lot of crying too, a lot of hard reflection on yourself. Because what the doctorate taught me, and maybe it'll teach others, is that you have more to offer than you realize, and you're stronger than you know. And the more you continue down this path, it teaches you who you really are and what are you made of.
Ooh.
What are you really made of? Are you going to stick in here? Are you going to let hard work scare you and make you run? Or are you going to let hard work continue to just be there for you and you're just going to keep pounding through and just keep going and keep doing it? And the more you keep doing it, the more you keep going, the more you realize I've got the stuff. I've got what I
Mm.
need to take care of this. I've got what I need to finish this program. And not only do I have what I need, I also have who I need to help me to continue.
Yeah.
So even when I was feeling those feelings of being nervous or feeling like I had that imposter syndrome, feeling as though I, didn't belong here. My work didn't reflect that.
Mm.
My work
Powerful.
reflected that you do belong here and that you
Mhm.
are enough. So
That's
continue
powerful.
on. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
powerful. So
Hmm.
I want to dive into the imposter syndrome and what made you feel that you didn't belong, that
Hmm.
you didn't deserve a seat at the table, that you weren't supposed to be there. Where would you say that came from?
I'm gonna say that came from childhood. I have to be honest, it came from my childhood because a lot of times, growing up, I always tell my clients, and I taught my children, my children, is that there is no parenting book.
Mm.
So parents teach you what they know and what they've learned in their own environment. So I came from a family of a two-parent family, but my dad was strict. I mean, when I tell you he was very strict, but his words were not always done with grace. And
Mm.
so a lot of times I felt very that I wasn't enough based on what he would say.
Yeah.
Or for example, being a child of a father who is extremely wanting education to be important to you because he knew
Mhm.
that the world was going to be tough. And
Yeah.
just because you're a girl, he was like, just because you're a girl doesn't mean that life is going to be easy. So I'm
Mhm.
teaching you how to be tough. Even though my words are not spelled with grace, I'm teaching you, Sharon, how to be tough. So
Yeah.
that's what he taught me. And so I think, but through that process of him trying to teach me, it kind of took a part of me that made me feel like I wasn't enough.
Mhm.
I could never meet his expectations,
Yeah.
is what I felt. And so growing up, I thought, you know what? Okay, how can I meet these expectations? And then one day he came to me, he said, you know what? You have met them
Wow.
and you are enough.
Wow.
And so when I sit back and I think about those words that my father gave me, he said, do your best, be your best, and always be yourself.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, you could have given me this a little bit earlier, Dad, but okay. But as I kept sat down, I resonated these words from him when I got older. I realized that, you know what? I can't let imposter syndrome take me down. Even though
Mhm.
it may come at me at times, I'm going to push it to the side and I'm going to continue to listen to that voice in my head that says, don't quit. You've got this. And if you don't have it, you know where to go get the resources where you will have it.
Mm. Ooh, I love
Hmm.
that. I
Hmm.
love it. So I'm curious,
Hmm.
I really appreciate you
Hmm.
allowing us in the basement with you and going back to childhood and what your father, the words and what he did,
Hmm.
and being able to have that redemption of I am enough. Thanks for letting me know. I could have used this a
Yeah,
while back. And
absolutely.
that kind of propelled you in a way to go further, to do
Mhm.
more. And then I'm sure, or my assumption is, you're in an environment in a doc program where you may be one of one. It may just be you.
Mhm.
How did you navigate those spaces to take care of you in those spaces when you may not have support and assistance around you?
Hmm, that's a good question. To be honest, when I started the program, you go in and you don't know a lot of people. You really
Mhm.
don't. You take classes with people that you eventually later on get to know. And so as I got into the program, I really, really had to reflect with my inner self and say, how am I going to get through this if I don't, make connections? How am I going to get through this if, I am alone or I'm out here as an individual? And I had to really tell myself, you know what? You're not doing this for anyone else. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it because this is where your purpose lies. This is where your journey is going. And there's a greater purpose than just you. So if God has given you the opportunity to do this, then He's going to give you the tools to be successful, whether you have people connected to you or not. But
Mm.
hindsight, God always sends people into your path that He wants you to connect with. And because of that, I felt like I was okay. I felt like God was connected with me. He was connected with my spirit. And so went into the program knowing that, you know what, if no one else finishes this program, I'm going to continue to focus on what's important to me and not anyone else. Although
Powerful.
people are important,
Mhm.
people are
Powerful.
so important. Yeah.
So it sounds like you had to shift perspectives. You had to
Mhm.
transition. You have to
I
change.
did.
Like you had to change a lot just to get in, just to get in it, to go through it, and to
Yeah.
finish. You had to become a different version of you, which I feel is very powerful. And I'm
Mhm.
curious to learn more and definitely sharing with the listeners your
Mhm.
study. What was your area of study, your
Mhm.
dissertation? What was your area of focus? And why did you
Mhm.
choose that area of focus?
That's interesting question. My dissertation was specifically geared towards Black male therapists and their self-care. And
Mm,
I chose that because there were times when I would hear my uncles, my father, my husband, my son, my cousins, they would all talk about some of the things that they had to do as Black males, in society. And then I started thinking about therapy. And I
mhm,
know a lot of times, specifically, African American men will not go to therapy based on stigmas. The strength, masculinity, that's taboo, all those type of things. And so as I started researching topics, that was not my main topic. It wasn't, it was other topics. And then as I began to think about what was happening, and I started thinking about things that maybe God had put into my heart. So I sat down, and let me go back a little bit. I sat down with my dissertation chair and we just started talking. And she said, um, I have a certain specialty, but I'm not going to tell you what that is. She
mhm.
said, I want you and I to just have a conversation. She said, and I want to know what's in your heart. She said, I want to know what's in your heart. And what came to mind was I was looking at something. I was, I guess, viewing something. It wasn't on television, but I was viewing something about mental health. And then I started talking to my husband. We kind of have, these conversations. And I started listening to what he was dealing with. And I thought, wow.
Mhm.
So I thought, I know that there's a stigma with men and mental health. But I was like, you know what? But we need to talk about that. We need to think about that. So then I
Mhm.
started thinking about mental health with Black male counselors.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if men in general, specifically African American men, are going through this, then what are the counselors going through as mental health specialists and being African American men? So I
Mhm.
started researching it, and I found there is not a lot of research out there about Black male self-care, mental health.
Yeah.
And the more I started diving into the topic, I realized it's nothing there. So as my
Mhm.
dissertation chair and I began to talk about topics, she looked at me and she said, "You know what?" She said, "I'm getting chills because that is my topic. That
Oh
is
my
my
goodness.
my 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 specialty." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, really? Are you telling me?" She said, "It is." She
Yeah.
said, "So," and I was actually looking for a chair 2 years prior, right?
Mhm.
And so she said, "That is my topic, and it is a wonderful topic." And she said, "I would be honored to be your chair." So I started digging.
Yeah.
And the more I dug, the less information I found. I found some information, but not a lot. I also found that statistically, 5%, and this is back when I did my research, 5% of African Americans make up mental health specialists or mental health therapists or counselors, 5% in the counseling field, not other professional fields. But 2% of that were Black male therapists. And I
Mm.
thought, what a small percentage, right?
Yeah.
So then I started thinking about self-care in itself. And what people don't know about self-care is this. It's just not a word that you can just say self-care. I think when you define self-care, people always come up with manicures or pedicure or, going and just maybe running or exercising. It is not just that.
Mm.
If you define self-care, self-care is taking care of yourself and making sure that you have the mental capacity, the physical capacity, spiritual capacity to continue to love on yourself while you are in, a situation of, I would say maybe while you're in a situation where you do need that care or where you're working in a field like therapists that are working in a field that you're constantly hearing issues, you're constantly dealing with other pressures of people's problems, but are you dealing with that on your own? And a lot of times
Mm.
they're not.
Yeah.
So as I was looking at that, I started looking at what does self-care really entitle? Do you know how many segments of self-care there really is, or how many, I guess, components of self-care there really is? Do you know?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So do you know there's several? You have what is it? Mental health self-care, or I'll
Mm-hmm.
say mental self-care, social self-care, spiritual self-care, physical self-care, emotional self-care, financial self-care. There's so many different forms of self-care, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you think about African American male counselors and how they manage self-care, their self-care is going to look different than someone else's because they are not treated the same way. So
Mm.
as I started talking with participants who were all over the United States, I heard the same story that resonated. I'm not heard, I'm not seen. I don't feel as though, even though I have the educational background that I have, I'm still not treated as an equal. And the more I thought about that, and then my mind started going way back, y'all. It started going really way back. And I started thinking to myself, okay, well, what has brought that to us? It's not just because it's not just today. Let's go back to the
Mm-hmm.
past. What's been happening throughout history, right? So the trauma of dealing with I'm not enough, or dealing with I'm not seen, or dealing with I'm not heard, where's that coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And I found a definition of post-traumatic slave syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
which comes from 400 years of oppression, discrimination, and racism.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, that's where you started. That's where your thinking stops, is in 400 years of oppression and slavery.
Yeah.
But let's
Mm-hmm.
think about who were you before that?
Mm.
Because you existed. Americans, not African Americans, but Africans existed prior to slavery. So who
Mm-hmm.
were you prior to slavery? And so when I think about that, I'm going to give you some points that I wanted to share about that and who they were. Who were you? You were, my goodness, before trauma of slavery, Black men were builders, healers, leaders, and scholars, integral to civilizations such as, different tribes. So that's who you were, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
where I went to. And the
Mm-hmm.
more I went to that, and I started looking at agriculture, architecture, the different things that they brought, the resilience, right? The strength and resilience that they brought with them, the knowledge, the know-how that they brought with them, right? So when you think about that part, you're like, wow, this is who they were prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is who they are now. And there's a disconnect. And before the break, you hear who you really are
Mm-hmm.
in this continent. But then you come to to the United States of America. Some people came as indentured slaves, indentured servitude, which means you came on your own. You wanted to work off a debt so that you could, after that 7 years of debt, you could work it off, right? And then now you're free.
Mm-hmm.
Some people came against their will. So you call that the 1619 transatlantic slave trade. So all of this comes, right?
Mhm.
So now you think about who you are. Prior to this, you're builders, you're all these different things, but now you're being told that you're not. So I went back to see and make a connection as
Yeah.
to self-care
Mhm.
and to say, guess what? Think about, okay, I know you've been hearing all this trauma. I know you've been dealing with all this stuff. You feel like you're not being heard, you're not being seen, none of this. But think about what you were before you became who you are now. And now you
Mm.
need to think about, why am I stopping at this point in my life when there's so much more that I need to be researching prior to my life? And when you
Mhm.
talk about African Americans, now you're African Americans because you came in, some, like I said, indentured servants, some came in as against will, but now you're in the United States and you're American. Now that's where you became African American through that
Mhm.
transatlantic slave trade, right?
Mhm.
So when you think about that and you think about what you brought, now you cannot not think about the African diaspora, right? Because
Mhm.
everywhere you go throughout the globe, throughout the world, you have brought in your culture, who you are, your belief system, and your values. So why are you sitting back, allowing yourself to think that you're subpar, thinking that you are not good enough, thinking that you don't belong? Because you do belong. Because when
Mhm.
you came here with a bag full of tools. And now you're thinking that you're not. So
Wow.
instead of thinking about when you the beginning of slavery, think about who you were prior to that and whose you were prior
Come
to
on.
that.
Come on now.
Okay? Think
This is
about that
powerful. This
and
is powerful.
research that part.
This is
Research
so
that part.
powerful. And I appreciate you sharing it. And for the listeners, please
Yeah.
know, like this, do your research, get
Hmm.
the history, get the information for yourself. You have now been exposed to something that even for me in my full transparency and vulnerability, I wasn't even aware of
Hmm.
what life was like for black men prior to
Hmm.
slavery, because that's as far back as I was taught and told. And you
Hmm.
dropped the gem, hit me in the head with a honey bun by sharing this truth because you did the research, you did the work to understand self care in the current. You had to go to the past. And that's what I love about us in history is getting new information, because what you're sharing before slavery of who we were, that's still us. And
Yes.
what you're talking about, the mental piece, is the belief that it's not us. It's the belief that I'm not enough. It's the belief that I'm an imposter. It's not the
Hmm.
facts. It's not the facts. So I really appreciate you sharing this gem with us. And for those listening, this is just a breadcrumb. I want to challenge you all. Take this breadcrumb and run with it and see what else you find. Because there's so much information out there we know nothing about. Some
Yeah.
things that are written, some things there are stories that people are still holding or carrying. And
Hmm.
you did the work to find out this information, which to me is life changing. It's
Hmm.
life changing, especially for me as a black man, it's life changing. And that connects to us all in some capacity, whether directly or indirectly. So
Hmm.
I am curious, and man, this history lesson just it just hit my soul. It just hit my spirit.
Hmm.
You know, you're not a traditional, on a traditional sense. When I think about college and getting a doctorate, when I think traditional is going through, right, from the bachelor's to the master's to a PhD. I would consider you to be a non-traditional student. I was a non-traditional student because you had several careers and
Hmm.
several lives prior
Absolutely.
to getting a doctorate. So if we could go back to the past on your life,
Mm-hmm.
having a life, having a family, having all these other experiences before considering getting a PhD, which
Hmm.
to me separates you from most students.
Hmm.
Um, how did you do it? And what was life like prior to, with all these other careers and you having a whole family?
Hmm.
How?
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Um, Going back to when I began, right? I didn't know who I was. I'm gonna just be
Mm,
honest. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea who I was going to be or even where I would end up. I had no idea because when you're actually getting ready to start college or getting ready to start anything in your life, you're young. And if anyone says to me, "Oh, I knew exactly what I wanted to be," that could be true. But
Mhm.
most people I've talked to really don't know.
Yeah.
They follow their parents, and I think I followed my dad with a business degree when I first went to college because I really did not know. But what I did know, and what I do know now looking back, is everything that you are is already embedded in you even before you're born. I
Mm.
look at it that way
Yeah.
because your traits, your belief system, who you are, is established, I think, in your environment. But I look at it from a standpoint of being a mom myself and, having children. And when I look at my children, one of the things I always noticed about them was who they were in the womb. I know that's, kind of a
Mhm.
different way. But I look at my children and I say, you know what? You all, because I studied them and I wanted to see where they went. I'm going somewhere with this. I
Mhm.
studied their reactions of who they were when they were before they were born, they were babies, during the ultrasounds, whatever. And the personalities that they came out with are their personalities today. And they're
Mm.
adults. And
Yeah.
so what I want to say to you is this: you already know who you are, whether you realize it or not.
Mhm.
So I was always a person that had a heart that was genuinely caring for people, always wanted to support and help people when they were going through different things. And what does that say about you? It says that this is what I guess got embedded in me already.
Mhm.
So I looked at it from a standpoint of now I'm a therapist, I'm a counselor, I'm licensed. Whoever thought that those traits were already embedded in me and I
Yeah.
already had that? I just had to figure out, what I guess what my purpose was. And so as I
Mhm.
was going through life's experiences and education wise, I picked a business degree, did that, but I was not happy with that because it
Mhm.
did not match who I was with my personality. It didn't give me the purpose that I wanted. It didn't give me the passion that I was looking for. And it did not feel my need for who I was at that time. It just wasn't there for me. No
Yeah.
connection. But when I made that connection, was when I was sitting down one day and I started thinking about, who am I? Who am I really?
Mhm.
What job would match me? Where can I go to find this? And one day I was sitting, I think I was working for a school at the time. I had left corporate America. I had, my family and everything. And so I left corporate America. And since then, I was raising my family and I went back. I said, I'm going to go back to work. So I went to work for a school as a financial secretary. I'll say that. And
Mhm.
one day, a gentleman walked in. Our kids went to preschool together. I knew his wife really well, and he kind of walked in that day. He wasn't supposed to be there, but his wife, I think something happened. She couldn't come, so he came in. He was a pastor, so
Mhm.
he started talking to me, and I was telling him my dilemma about, man, I wish I knew what my purpose was or what direction I was going in. And he says to me, he said, "Why don't you take a interest exam, interest
Mhm.
inventory?"
Yeah.
Like, all right, okay. So I took that. And when he brought me the results back, he said, "This is where your gifts lie."
Mm.
And what was funny is those same gifts that I had taken the same interest inventory in high school, and they pretty much matched. And it was pretty, and that's crazy, but I didn't want to do it. People's like, I didn't do it. I was thinking it was just, it wasn't going to really match me. But
Yeah.
when he brought that to me, and I can't remember all that it was saying, but it says that you are caring, you are discerning, you are administrator, and it had some other things, and they all matched to the counseling field.
Mm.
And so I began to pray about it. I said, okay, Lord, this seems to be where I fit. And so that's kind of how I ended up in becoming a therapist. And then the more I researched it, the more I felt like this matched me.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up becoming a therapist and loving what I did
Wow. Wow.
and still
So
do.
powerful. Oh,
Mhm.
so powerful. Dr. Beatty, you're blessing me. Okay. I don't know about y'all. To the listeners, to the audience, I don't know about y'all, but I'm being blessed over here. Okay. I just feel like I got baptized. I'm over here.
Thank you.
I'm so serious. I'm over here wet. I'm so like, somebody bring me a towel. I need a towel. I just got baptized. Because you're talking about, and this is the depth, this
Mhm.
is the basement. And I really appreciate your authenticity and transparency because the woman that you are, like you had
Mhm.
to become her, all caps, in
Yeah.
order to share your journey and your story. And what you said that's so powerful and profound to me is discovering your purpose,
Mhm.
discovering who you are. And it sounds like when you were able to discover who you were, that's when you knew what your purpose was.
Exactly.
Oh man. So oh
Exactly.
oh my God. Dr.
Exactly.
Beatty, listen, are you
Yeah.
hearing you right now? Are you
I'm,
hearing
I'm
you?
hearing, and I think about that, and I think about, my journey, and I think about God did not just bring me through, right?
Yeah.
But He brought me into my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's what He
Mm-hmm.
did for me. So when you find that purpose, now you know
Yeah.
you're on the right
Yeah.
direction.
Oh man. So I go, whew, whew. I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying. So two things. These are really big. You mentioned this before earlier with your dissertation chair.
Mhm, mhm,
This experience that you had with your chair where she kept her info a secret
mhm,
at the time until she felt needed to share, and you just shared your truth.
mhm,
And when you said, God places people in your life, and to me, I
mhm.
call that a destination helper. So a
Absolutely.
destination helper is somebody that God placed in your life when you're able to accept what they have to offer, that's going to
Mhm,
help you on your journey. And you've had
mhm,
that, and you know that,
mhm,
and you see that.
mhm,
So to the listeners, I want y'all to take this as, information of real life. This is someone's lived experience talking
mhm,
about it because we all have it, but we may not pay attention to it. So that's the
mhm,
first piece, destination helper. The second is, figuring out you to figure out your purpose. If you could share with the listeners, for those who have no idea their
mhm.
purpose, have no idea who they are, they still working a corporate job and sick to their stomach, or
Yeah.
they're working, doing
Mhm,
what their
mhm,
parents encourage
mhm,
them to do, or somebody encouraged them to do,
mhm,
but they're not happy. They're not okay. How
mhm,
can someone begin to pivot? Because you were in a place where you weren't happy, you were okay, but you didn't stay. You decided, nah, I don't have to do this. How
mhm.
could you help the listeners who may be stuck in getting out of that space? Because you took a huge risk and it paid off.
I did. What I will tell people is this: be true to yourself. What do you do? And I always ask this question to anyone. And I say, what could you do that you don't care about getting paid to do and you do it naturally? If it's
Mm,
something that you do that you absolutely enjoy doing, don't look at the money. Look at what is in your heart, what is embedded in you, because that is where you want to start. Then
yeah,
take an interest inventory, get that. But the thing is, the reason why I say do something, or it's embedded in you, and don't go for the money, because this is the thing: do what you love to do and the money will come.
these are facts.
You know what I'm saying? Do what
These
you
are
love to
facts.
do, find what you love to do, and don't be afraid to research it, and don't be afraid to fail at certain other things, because it's also trial and error. But when you find it, don't be afraid to pursue it. Don't look for quick, because a lot of times people want to jump in there because of the money. If you're only going into something because of money, then don't do it, because it's
Mm,
not going to be, it's not genuine, and it's not going
yeah,
to be, and it's not going to last. But if
yeah.
you're there, and this is the thing, you're going to work a job however many years, you're going to be there however many hours. But if you love what you do, no matter what obstacles hit your path or what comes your way, you're going to be there because it's what you love to do. And the other stuff just does not matter. It doesn't
Whew.
matter.
Ooh, that's blessings, blessings upon blessings. You're absolutely right. And these are
Mhm.
facts because we can put evidence behind it. And I agree with you
Absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
100%. So before we move into these rapid fire questions, I am curious because I'm really thinking about the listeners and your wisdom, your knowledge, your
Mhm.
voice, your gift, your
Mhm.
heart, your soul, your
Mhm.
spirit, your connection
Mhm.
is blessing so many people. And that's what I love about this show. That's what I love about this platform. And
Mhm.
you actually called me in
Mhm.
because number one, I do this podcast for free as of now, and I love
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
It'll be a year in December, and I love what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Although the other things I've done and I'm doing, I love those too. I didn't know I
Mhm.
had this love for this, and it connects the dots to what you're saying. This show is me talking a lot of shit. I've been talking shit my whole life. Okay, my whole life. Now
Yeah.
it's on air. Okay, you're again. You're blessing me, letting me know. I came out the womb talking.
Absolutely. Yeah. It
And
did.
so you're connecting dots like my personality is this. It does fit me and I would do it for free.
Yeah.
And it's a joy. And like you're saying, like when that purpose,
Mhm.
it's not about money. It's way bigger than that. And the things around it that we get caught up in, as you mentioned, it doesn't matter. New house, new clothes, new whatever. it gets old, and it gets
Mm-hmm.
old quickly, and
Yeah.
you recognize how much it doesn't matter. And the thing that you do and the person that you are is what truly matters. You are blessing us. Okay.
Mhm.
I just need you to know that. Need you
I
to
hope
know it.
so. Yeah.
Whew. So another thing before we switch from here, because there's a lot of people who, and I'm speaking specifically to those who are in the midst of, I want to go get my doctorate,
Yeah.
but, and
Yeah.
that butt keeps their butt out the seat being a
Absolutely.
doctor student.
Wow.
So how did you overcome all the beliefs and ideas of people telling you how hard it was and don't do it and it's this and it's that, and you decided, even with, you're doing really well in your career, making a lot of money, got a family, like, you didn't have to go further. What
Mhm.
made you decide, regardless of what people say, I'm gonna do this for me and I'm gonna do it now? What was that for you? What was that like for you?
You know, my doctorate for me, did I need it? You're absolutely correct. I did not need it to continue with my work. I did not need it. But it was something embedded in me that told me, you know what? There's so much more. And I love learning
Mm-hmm.
and I love teaching. I love mentoring. And those were the things that were important to me. And going back a little bit, about my life, I became a school counselor and a licensed clinician because those were passions for me. And I loved the variety of those positions, right? But even as a school counselor, I wanted more. So I went and I became nationally board certified because that was more.
Yeah.
And so once I got that, I was sitting in my office one day, I was working with some students, and I began to think about what can I do? What more can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about if I get a doctorate, because I'm already I'm already supervising, interns coming in. I loved it. And I said, well, what more can I do with a PhD?
Mm-hmm.
And with this PhD, my plan is to do the research. I love research. And I
Okay.
knew I couldn't do that with just what I had. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do the research, but I also wanted to give back.
Yeah.
And I felt like there were certain platforms I might not be able to join or go to or be a part of without having the additional education.
Mm-hmm.
So, was I looking for the money piece of it? No. Was I looking for the support where I could give back to my community, give back to the people that had helped me? So, when I look at it from a standpoint, I had so many great people in my life to support me, to help me, to build me. So now I want to go back because now I'm at a stage in my life where I'm no longer the person learning. I'm now the person teaching. And in
Ooh.
order for me to do that, right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, okay, well, what does it look like getting this
Mm-hmm.
PhD? And that PhD taught me to be strong, to be resilient, even through the storm. You still can be strong. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what things look like. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just do what's best for you. Do the thing that you want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
getting this PhD gave me, it gave me a piece of me that I thought, number one, because we talked about imposter syndrome, I didn't think I belonged.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to sit down and tell myself, I do belong.
You damn right.
I belong here. And I'm going to be up here with, people that are like me, that think like me, that I can connect with. And through that process, let me tell you this part here. I need to share this with you. I told you a little bit about my chair, but there was an ordained, she actually, our group, when we actually did dissertation, we became connected with a group of my colleagues, right? Now, believe me, we stayed up late at night, but we all did our own individual pieces. We did our own dissertations. We did everything, so we did everything ourselves. But let me tell you what got us through was that social piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to call up my friend or being able to sit on a Zoom with my friend and say, I'm stuck, I'm scared, I don't know, I got to keep going. I know this is, this part process, but having that community connection
Mm-hmm.
for somebody to support you and you support them when they're feeling or they're going through it or they feel like they, pieces. So having that connection. So getting a PhD for me, it was a journey. It was a lifelong journey. It was a well-deserved journey. But now that I'm done with it, I look back and I realize it was for me.
Yeah.
It was for
Yeah.
me. It wasn't
Mhm.
for anybody else. It
Yeah.
didn't matter to me what other people thought. It just mattered that, you know what, I'm going to do this because this is what God laid in my heart to do. And there's a purpose and a reason why he put it in my heart. So there's got to be some more work for me to do. And
Yes.
this is what I need to have to be able to get it done.
Oh,
You
let's
know?
go. To the listeners, y'all heard it here first. Okay. You heard it here first. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, and I love your answer because it's honest, it's real, it's yours,
Mhm,
and it's true. For many people, and I was the same way, I had this inclination in me, like I want to become a doctor, but there
mhm,
was fear, there was so
mhm,
much stuff, and a lot of people that told me not to get the doctorate or how bad it was going to be or how tough it was going to be, they didn't have one. So to the
mhm,
listeners, stop listening to people who does not have a doctorate, who are not where you want to be. Stop asking them for advice because they're not going to tell you because they've never been. So you heard it from somebody who's done it. And this is a story. This is a journey. And every person who has a doctorate has a story and a journey. Those are
mhm.
the people that you want to talk to get
Yeah.
info on the story and the journey. And the story and the journey that matters the most is your own. And that's what you're sharing, Dr. Beatty. And I appreciate it. So we're going to go into some rapid fire questions because you've been blessing me. You've been blessing us. I'm curious to know, who would you consider to be or was your hero or shero?
Okay, I have two Shiros.
I'll take them.
And this might get a little emotional, I will tell you.
And that's okay. We here
Okay.
for
My mother was one, and her mother, my grandmother, was the other.
it. You got to
My
tell us.
mother, oh my gosh, my mom, she died of cancer some years ago.
Mm,
And she and my mom and I were like sisters. We were very close.
yeah.
But one of the things that I noticed about my mom, and this is what brought my strength, and I'll tell you about my strength and my resilience. Um, when she was, in her stages and she knew that, this was it. We always had long conversations, believe me, we did.
Hmm.
But watching her strength through what she was going through, we're supposed to be in there encouraging her, and she's encouraging us because we're all like bawling and crying. And she's like, "What are y'all crying for?" And she's like, "Stop messing up all my tissue." Doctor, she didn't call me that. Sharon, stop messing up all my tissue. Girl, stop all that crying. And she was like, "You know what? I have lived my life. I am happy. If this is how God, if this is how I'm gonna go, then I'm gonna go with a bang." She said,
Yeah.
"I am not gonna sit here and all of this, oh, woe is me." She says, "I'm going to live my life to the very end." And she said, "And
Yeah.
you are too." She said,
Yeah.
"You're going to be okay without me." She said, "I know it's tough for you to hear me to say that right now." She said, "But you're gonna be all right." She said, "Because you're a woman of faith, you're a woman of God, and you're my daughter,
Whew, whew.
and you are going to make it." That's what she told me. And then we
Mm,
shared some other things too. But she said, "I just want you to know, that I'm so very proud of you." And so I was like, "Oh my God, mom," but she was my shero because
yeah.
watching her life, watching her tell me that from a mother's perspective, and then
Hmm.
being there with her when she took her last breath, knowing that she was like in this area where she was like, "Oh my God, it's just so beautiful what I'm looking at right now."
Yeah.
And I thought, "Mom, you are my shero." And then my grandmother, Mary, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
she was my other shero.
Yeah.
She died some years, before my mom. But my grandmother taught me about faith. She taught
Hmm.
me about being a woman. She taught me about just, going through some of the things that she went through. Because, of course, their era, way back, they had to do a lot more stuff than we did, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so she taught me, don't ever put your head down.
Mm,
Always walk with your head facing up.
yeah.
Don't ever let anyone tell you that you are not good enough. Don't
Mm,
ever let anybody tell you that, you don't deserve something, because you do. And she just taught me about the just her and my mom taught me about life, about cooking and cleaning and how to be a good wife and how to be a good mother and all these things. Were they perfect? No. Am I going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But those were the women in my life that made me the woman that I am today.
I love it. I love it. Giving those flowers, my condolences for your
Mhm.
losses.
Yeah.
And their legacy continues to live
Mhm.
through you. And now
Mhm.
you're that person. So I appreciate you sharing this. You
Mhm.
sharing this also speaks to the listeners because for many people listening, they've never heard the things that that you're saying
Mhm.
that was given to you. And now you're giving it to us. And that's
Mhm.
the gift that keeps on giving. So for the listeners, if you haven't heard it, this was your voice. This was what you needed to hear. This was not coincidental. This is
Mhm.
a destination helper statement or
Mhm.
statements.
Mhm.
This show is the gift that keeps on giving. And that's what
Mhm.
I love about it.
Mhm.
And Sharon, that's who you are. You are a gift that keeps on giving. Ooh,
Mhm.
ooh. All right. So, what's a word, phrase, memory, or moment that has stuck with you personally or professionally?
A word that has stuck with me. Hmm. Personally and professionally. Just any word or whatever kind of word or
Whatever comes up to you. It could be a word, could be a phrase, could be a memory, could be a moment, whatever.
work hard and stay humble.
Woo! Simple,
Mhm,
to the point, gonna hit
mhm,
you in the soul. Hit you in the
mhm,
soul.
mhm,
I love
mhm.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. Write it down, y'all. Write it down. All right. So, last question before you
Mhm,
start giving a little bit more than you already given.
mhm,
Three parallels: who we were, who we are, who we're becoming. If you were to describe Sharon, little Sharon,
mm. Yeah.
current Sharon, future Sharon, uh, how would you describe those three individuals? Who you
Mm.
were, who you are, who you're becoming?
Who I was when I was a young Sharon, I was indecisive, probably, maybe not really knowing what direction I was going in, still, trying to figure it out, still trying to walk that path, not knowing what direction. My present self is continuously growing, empowering others, impacting people's lives. I think for myself, that is the person that I want myself, that I am right now, that I feel very confident in what I'm doing. I feel that I have the ability to back up what I'm saying, and I now have the credentials and the education to back it up as well.
Come on.
You know what I mean? And the person that I want to become, I am constantly becoming. I'm always becoming. So no matter how old I get, I am always going to be becoming, because I just feel like for me, getting to know my younger self, my present self, and my future self all are connected to whoever I'm going to be in the future, whoever I am right now. They all connect. So that's who I am today, right now. I'm telling you who I am, and then I'm telling you who I'm going to be in the future. And I think they all kind of connect
I
through
agree.
that process. Yeah.
I agree. 100%. They will always connect because it's
Mhm.
us. It's who we are.
That's who
I
we
love
are.
it. I love it. So, an interesting fact about you. What's something that people would not assume about you, or people don't know about you?
Okay. I am a Trekkie. You would not think that, right? I'm a Trekkie.
So you got to
Uh,
explain because you got to be mindful of our
I know, right?
audience.
Because everybody don't know about Star Trek. I am a science fiction buff. I
Mm.
love movies, but I am definitely um, and my husband laughed at me. I like kick butt movies too, y'all. Like The Expendables, John Wick, Equalizer. So those things I'm like, so some people might think, oh, you're not like a love story. No. I'm not.
Wow, I would not have thought
I
that.
know. I love like the action, the Terminator. I love the action-packed science fiction type movies. Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I would have never thought that. I would have never thought that.
Nobody would, right? So that's
Great.
me.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Mhm.
it. Because I'm thinking, just my assumption, you're just sweet and nice and gentle and God and the word and love. No, I'm ready. Who kicking butt today? Like
That's right. I'm like, who kicking butt today? That's how I'm gonna go ahead and get I'm gonna watch my movie. So yeah, I do like that. I know it's crazy, right?
I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. So
Mhm.
last thing is for you to give of something. As you all know, this show we don't do homework, we do life work. Homework, you take it home, do it, never remember it. It doesn't do anything for you. Life work, you take it home, do it. Your life could change. You can pivot. So,
Mhm.
Dr. Beatty, if you can offer something to the listeners to help them consider a pivot, what would it be?
So let me give you a note from me. Your journey is sacred. You are allowed to rest, you're allowed to grow, and you're allowed to shine in the space that God has created just for you. So I'm going to leave that with you. And I'm also going to say, as far as like reflecting back and giving you nuggets, always be true to yourself, be honest with yourself, and don't ever stop laughing. You know,
Mm,
it's okay to laugh at yourself, and it's also okay to be human. And one of the things that I've learned through the past, through my I guess relationship with God and things like that is, He's always given me permission to be human, and He's always said to me, "I can never work through your fear, but I can always work through your faith."
mm. You just listen.
Hmm.
You just giving us so much love, so much life from this. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful. And I do love to give flowers. And you
Hmm.
deserve a bouquet, several
Hmm.
of them. I want your whole living room spread with bouquet of flowers right
Mhm.
next to the couch that you just took the plastic off of yesterday.
Absolutely. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, you are a gem. You are a gift. I'm so thankful you've been placed in my life, in my path, and you have blessed me. You've blessed this audience just by who you are. And
Mhm.
I'm thankful for you. And just keep being you, keep doing you. And,
Mhm.
for you to accomplish this major goal, and that's just the beginning, because hey, I still got stuff to do. I still got work to do. God still got a plan for me. I'm
Mhm.
still responsible for the things that I've been placed on this earth to do. And you know that. And to me, you are a living legend. You
Mhm.
are a living legend. And I'm thankful that you
Mhm.
decided to spend a little time with us today.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, final
Yeah.
thoughts. And if people want to
Mhm.
get in contact with you, people want to connect with you, people want to watch sci-fi with you, want to know what you're watching,
Yeah,
how can people
absolutely.
get in contact with you?
Well, I'll give all the information to you. And the thing is, I actually just created my own counseling services, the Rose of Sharon, counselingservices.com. So you can hit me there. You can reach me at on Psychology Today. I'm there as well. My email is kind of long, so I have to, have to type that to you and give it to you, but it's Dr. Sharon Beatty, Counseling Services. So I will give you all of that information because it's quite a bit.
Okay.
Um, Let me see how. Oh,
And,
also,
and
I do
where
have.
you
Go
where
ahead.
you located, and you are accepting new clients, yes?
I am, and I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
I do have some books on Amazon. My first books, I thought that I was excited about that. I have two books on Amazon that are out there, and hopefully I will have more. We'll see. So yes, absolutely. But I do plan on sending you some information if anybody wants to get in contact with me. But yes, the Rose of Sharon counselingservices.com is really a place that you can, and it is live, so you can hit that and contact me there with all my information.
Done and done. Y'all heard it here first. Take
Mhm.
advantage. You already know what you're getting. Okay. It ain't no secret. You already know what you're getting. And either you gonna rock with Dr. Beatty or you not. Either way it go, Dr. Beatty's still good. I just want to talk about facts.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Just want to talk about
Absolutely.
facts.
Mhm. Mhm.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here today?
I just want to say thank you for having me as a guest. It's been awesome. It's been a pleasure. I think it's been God ordained for me to be here with you. And I just thank you for just general conversation. I love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
100%. And big shout out to the two black men that's specific to us.
Mhm.
Dr. Linwood Vereen, Dr.
Mhm.
Vincent Sears.
Yes.
Cheers. They
Mhm.
told me you were the truth. They told me from the
Oh.
jump, hey, they told me off the rip, shut up. This is who you need to connect with.
Oh my gosh. And those are two of my, like I say, two of my colleagues, my friends, my favorites. Dr. Sears and I talked a little bit earlier today. He's like, you got this. Dr. Vereen was like, I know you got this. And so they're dear to my heart. They are very dear to my heart.
Well,
Thank
they got you because they
you.
told me it was no
Oh,
question. They said you got to make this happen, and I'm so glad we did.
you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Mhm.
You have been a blessing to all of us, and I'm very appreciative. And we're gonna have you back. Just know that. So we're gonna
Thank you.
have you back whenever that time comes, because these moments, these experiences,
Mhm.
can be life changing if we're listening, if we're paying attention, if we're open to receive, because
Mhm.
your life is a testimony. Who you are is a
Mhm.
testimony. And I just love sharing us with
Mhm.
those who want to hear.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
by the way, you're a blessing as well. So thank you for who you are as well.
I receive it all day long in my living room with the couch
Absolutely.
that still got the plastic on it.
Got you. Thank you, Dr. Branch.
Always, always. This has been another episode of Three Parallels Podcast with your host, the brother Dr. Jason Branch, where we rediscover who we were, we embrace who we are, and we make room for who we're trying to become. If you are interested in getting your doctorate, there is nothing to stop you but you. That is it. Stop listening to people that ain't got one. Stop listening to people that tell you you don't get one, and go get it. Why? Because you want it. That is it. That is
Abs-
all. Good
Yeah.
night.